station. Don't forget, too, you can watch Good Things. We are on your computer, even your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalkTV.com. You're going to want to see it. It's the cutest little cub in the whole wide world, and we're going to learn more about him. He is at the Hattiesburg Zoo, which welcomed the only surviving hyena cub born in North America here this year. Joining us to tell us a little bit more is Kristen Moore. She is an animal curator for the zoo. Hey, Kristen.
Hey, how are you?
Number one, coolest job ever. And number two, is it a little boy or is it a little girl?
Oh, so we don't know yet. We won't find out for a couple of weeks because hyena anatomy is tricky to tell apart. They basically look the exact same. So we will have to send off some blood work for some genetic testing before we know.
Well, I guess I already just put it out there. It's going to be a little boy, but if it's a little girl, we'll love her too, and and the world will go round. So this is very exciting. What was the official birthday?
The official birthday was the 17th of October.
And then when did y'all get the call, or was it there on site? How did the Hattiesburg Zoo wind up with the cub?
So it was here on site. So Mom Peely and Dad Neeru both live here, and Mom, they're part of the species survival program. So it's a really exciting birth for us. So it's basically, we were watching her. We've got cameras up in that exhibit and in that holding. We noticed some strange behavior early that morning. So her primary keeper came in along with myself early that morning and started watching her. And at about 12:45, she gave birth to our little one.
And this is kind of special, too, the fact that it was a single birth. Typically, is there more than one of them if mama's going to have babies?
Typically, yeah. Typically, they come in twins. It's not totally uncommon for them to have a single one, but typically it is two.
And mama has to be watched pretty carefully, too, because I guess out in the wild, maybe they don't always make it through after birth?
Yes, ma'am, that is absolutely accurate. So that birth canal is only about an inch wide. So any of the other mamas out there, you can start to think about how difficult that might be. And so sometimes the birth itself can result in death of the mom and the cub. So, yeah, watching her pretty closely. Both mom and baby are doing great right now.
So what happens after something exciting like this goes on at the zoo? I mean, I've been through 2 human births myself. I'm feeling for the mama with only that inch canal that made me, took my breath away for a second there. But what happens sort of after? How do y'all care for it or make sure it still has kind of that natural bonding moment? Or what do you do there? What's labor and delivery like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we pretty much keep it quiet for her for the first 24 to 48 hours, mom and baby just bonding together. We go in basically to feed mom, and that is it, and then we leave them alone. We monitor 24/7. I personally had the first 24-hour shift of that. Sometimes we stay overnight depending on how they are doing, just to make sure that someone's up and monitoring them. And then from there, we do a weight on the baby every couple of days to make sure the baby is gaining weight. So at that point, we separate mom and baby, get real hands-on with baby. There is some socializing that has to happen with that little one, too, to make sure that as the baby gets older, it views us as friendly. And then we basically just, in a couple weeks, we'll reintroduce dad back to mom and baby. And then that's our last big hurdle, I think, making sure that this little one makes it. So it's a long process. It's several-week process. So we ask folks, please be patient with us. We're working through it and doing our best.
Oh, man, I'm going to be there Thursday for a field trip for my 5th grader. I was hoping to get loves and snuggles, but I guess I'm going to have to at least hold off like everybody else. And either way, though, there's a lot of other good things going on at the zoo. But speaking of hyenas, I was just telling Rhino, Kristen, that the little guy or gal doesn't look like what you see, on The Lion King, right? We have this idea of what a hyena should look like. So from your perspective, I mean, what is their characteristics like? What are they like in the wild? How would we, not want to come across them, I'm sure. But tell us a little bit about them.
So they're pack animals, and so they do hunt. They're also considered scavengers as well. Ours here in captivity have very different personalities. Neeru the dad tends to be a little bit more skeptical of people and likes to kind of stay away. Peely, the mom, is the exact opposite. She loves the public. She loves people. You'll often see her running around and swimming in the pool. So each individual has their own personality. In the wild, it's obviously completely different. They don't have a whole lot of human interaction. They actually prefer to stay away from people. So they're not quite like you see on The Lion King, but they're a lot of fun. They have a lot of fun personalities.
They don't sing and talk?
They do like a sing singing sort of call to each other, which is it's really cool to hear. But they've got about 17 or 18 different calls that they do to each other. But you'll hear like them do this high pitched, we call it a whooping noise. That's really cool to hear.
So you mentioned that this particular cub was part of a larger effort, I'm sure, to help with the population of hyenas. Speak to the fact that when we go and visit our zoo and take the time to come out, not only are we going to have a good time, like the Hattiesburg Zoo and others, but you're also helping with the preservation of specific species. Like this one would be an example of hyenas. So how does that work? Like, how does that program work? How does Hattiesburg Zoo get kind of, in with all of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you have to go through what's called the species survival program. And they basically, in the beginning, they'll come out and they'll talk to you and they'll look at your space and your exhibit that you're planning on building. And then from there, they decide that you're a good fit for it. They are the ones that pair the animals together for breeding. So their sole job is to maintain genetic diversity in those species. So they basically spend a lot of time looking at the different genetic lines and all of these different animals, and they pair them together at different facilities. Sometimes it works real well in the case of Peely and Eru, and sometimes it doesn't. Animals have personalities, and they don't always get along, and that's okay, too. But that is sort of kind of how you get involved with it.
There at the Hattiesburg Zoo, y'all have had a lot of babies. I think you have a very robust labor and delivery. If I'm remembering correctly, I mean, you had a baby giraffe not too long ago, maybe two, at least one. And then you had the baby sloth. So it's like procreating part of the, the mission there for the zoo?
It is, yeah. We are absolutely part of breeding programs. We had a little baby colobus monkey that we were very, very excited about, baby sloth, and now this baby hyena. We're very involved with the species survival programs. We have some plans coming up to add some more species to our facility to also help those other SSPs out.
Kristen, I said this at the beginning here on Good Things. What a cool job. How did you find yourself as an animal curator there at the Hattiesburg Zoo?
Oh, my story is a long, complicated one, but I'll give you the abbreviated version. My husband was in the military for 21 years, so we moved around quite a bit. I was actually in school for early childhood education about 6 weeks from graduating when I decided I think I want to be a zookeeper. Unfortunately, I have a very supportive husband who was like, go follow your dreams.
Well, it's basically like herding cats is, like being an elementary
right.
teacher. Yeah.
So I started out as an intern many years ago and just was kept with the field, and here I am now and couldn't be happier.
Well, and also part of your job there, or at least someone's job at the Hattiesburg Zoo, it sounds like you're a great educator, you're sharing your information with us here, is to educate on all of the animals and the wildlife there at the zoo, which I'm excited to come with a bunch of robust fifth graders. You're going to feel right back at home if you connect with us. But for those who maybe haven't been to the Hattiesburg Zoo, I keep telling them they should put it on their to-do list to visit here in Mississippi. What are some of the best sites or best exhibits to see right now?
Oh, man. Our giraffe exhibit is one of my favorites. Let's see what else. I personally love our African veldt area with our zebra and our ostrich. Our tiger exhibit is great. Any of our primates, I'm such a primate person, so any of our primates I would recommend seeing. Our wallaby walkabout is really popular because you actually get to go inside the exhibit and walk around with the wallaby, so that's really cool. And, of course, the kids always love the petting zoo. Who doesn't like to get their hands on some goats and sheep?
Always love the goats and the sheep, but I also love all these babies that are coming out of the Hattiesburg Zoo. So, Kristen, where can we go to keep up with all things Hattiesburg Zoo?
So you can follow us on Facebook. We are also on Instagram, or you can just go to our website at hattiesburgzoo.org.
All righty. Well, I appreciate your time. She, it's a beautiful little thing. I can't wait till you know what it is, because then I guess you'll name it, right?
Yes, we will name it. We're not exactly sure how we're going to go about doing that, but we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, and then we'll share it here. Well, I appreciate your time.
All right, thanks so much.
What a cool job. How would you like to wake up and stretch your arms and go, today I get to go feed and take care of a baby hyena? Now, that hyena will probably grow up, and you probably won't want to cuddle as much as you would when it's a little one. Like the little tigers that look so cute, and then they grow up to be, big tigers. I think, if I could rethink my life, I'd be a million different things. But zookeeper would be on the list of things I think would be really cool to do. Although there's the not fun part, the stinky part that comes with any living thing that you take care of. But
sounds like you need to add it to your if I win the lottery list.
Yeah. like a lot of part-time gigs. I think that's a great idea. All right, stick with us. We got more for you up next.